Yeah, just making that perfectly clear. I put my life on a path, giving it all that I have. I never do half, I never do that. Look at me, but when I speak to you, bitch, I ain't giving you dab. Better respect that shit, cause I ain't gonna let that shit slide now. I don't accept that shit, I ain't gonna let that shit by now. Yeah, this is that H-Town, ass up, face down, thick ass, waist round, 8th round, playground, take down shit. She say she only be talking to niggas who got something going for them, on point. And all of that she don't inform, now she's going for him. He ain't the only one, nah, but you should've known. That's why I stay in the booth, going straight through the roof. Yeah, speaking the truth, I'm alright. Yeah. I'm feeling okay, I don't let nothing in life stand in front of my way. I just keep going and going. I just keep going and going.
Hey, this is the Artist Table. I'm here with special guest Stevie Dub.
Yes, sir.
We got Jimmy on the beats. We got the crew in the back getting some footage. We got two Raphaels.
we got
Jay on the mic. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then, Chris in the back. Consume Chris.
Hey, yo, shout out to Chris, man, with them kicks. I still want to know where you got those from, by the way. Yo, the energy's incredible in this room right now. That's
Thank
all
you.
I can say.
I
love it.
We met you halfway. Let's be honest. So
I mean,
you brought some of the energy. We had some of the energy. Now it's blowing up.
Everywhere I go, I got to bring that energy.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
that's what we're here. We're blowing up. Getting out there, expanding.
All day.
I got put onto you by a mutual friend, Valentina. Shout out.
That's right. Shout out to Valentina, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So, first off, I guess, I'll let you know how we met. I met Valentina because I'm a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. You know who Gary V is?
Gary V,
Everybody
yeah.
in here familiar with his
I
content?
follow him, I think, on Instagram.
Yeah. So, I'm a huge fan of him. He's, motivational. He talks, that basically he's the type of guy that's like, yo, if you want to go and be an artist and you got the talent, get out there and fucking grind. I can swear on this show, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Because I'm about to be swearing up a fucking store right now. I'm in a good mood.
Fuck it. Yeah, let's go.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So, I went to one of his events, and then I always do this thing afterwards where, if I go to events and then I'll go through hashtags, I'll find out who was there, and I'll just DM people to network and just be like, hey, I noticed that you were at this event, whatever. I had a great time. What did you think about it? So I had DM'd her, and then she hit me back, and then we just became friends. I had an event, a release party for one of my albums 2 years ago. She came and she was doing a blog at the time, so she did this write up on me, and her husband was there and everything. And then a couple months had went by, and then she was telling me that she works for this company that wants to do all this, going out and interviewing people. And that's how me and Jay have known each other for almost 10 years now. Well, it's not 10 years yet, but it's pretty damn close.
We round up.
Close, pretty
Right.
close.
Well, because she approached me, Valentina approached me, and she was like, "Hey, I'm looking for video. We want to do a YouTube series." And she was like, "And I know that you do content, or at least you know the people. So come to the office and let's talk." So I came out here in Newport. The office is around this area. And they just basically told me what they wanted. I called him right afterwards because I'm not a videographer.
Right.
I'm not really a video guy, but I know people, and I was like, I can help do something. I can help you out. So I called Jay. I was like, yo, we have this opportunity to make some money together, so let's do it. And we've been working on this project now for almost a year.
Almost
Isn't
a
that
year.
crazy?
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So Jay, just to introduce Jay, so everybody's here. First and foremost, we did not coordinate these damn outfits.
Okay, no, yeah,
just
yeah.
in case if anybody's wondering.
It's a dark salmon. That's what
Right,
it looks like
you know
to
what I
me.
mean?
But
So-
it matches the vibe of the studio.
Absolutely.
So it's kinda
which
fitting, so
I
thank
love
you.
it in here, man.
I
You
love
guys,
it.
what you need is a Stevie Dub record up here somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see that one.
You get it pressed. I'll put it up.
I got you.
that's-
I got you for real. I will. I'll do
Yeah?
that. I'll do that for you. I'm
Awesome.
dead ass
Say
serious.
I'll
You
tell
better
off.
sign it all big.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. So, Jay, we met at Planet Fitness.
I used to work at the gym.
Oh,
Planet
which one?
Fitness. Planet Fitness.
Which Planet Fitness?
Highland in
Highland.
San Bernardino.
Okay.
That was my first gym I
Yeah?
ever worked at. Yeah.
Okay.
So he used to go in to work out at night. I used to work overnight. So he used to work out over there. And then he put me on to his record, his album, The Preparation.
Yeah, Preparation.
You remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Of
man.
course.
That day, though, man, I played it all day.
Did you say you met J-Lo?
No,
Is that
no,
what
no. I
heard?
met
No.
Jay.
Oh,
Jay, this
okay.
is Jay. Shit, I wish.
I was like, no, you can't. You're not allowed to skip over that story.
Right.
No,
right.
Okay.
No,
I
no.
wish.
All right.
So yeah, man. I mean, it's just and this was years ago, man. When I used to live in like the San Bernardino area.
Okay.
Well, I lived in San Bernardino. It was Highland, and we met at the gym, and then he was working with another guy who's a YouTuber, and he was doing video content. But we didn't work together at that point. We didn't work together until like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then just kind of started, working together, and now we're doing work with Valentina on top of music stuff, and obviously you have, Big Boy Ralph, and then you have Little Ralph over here, and the team is expanding. We met these guys through Valentina.
Okay.
They work with
Sounds
the
like
Joy
she's
of Giving
the plug,
as well. Yeah, man, she's a great woman,
Yeah.
and I'm blessed. We're all blessed in this room to be able to have somebody such as her and everybody else that she's introduced us to that believe in us. And today,
Right.
even today, man, it was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Before I came in here, dog, that's why my energy is so good right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I know Valentina. I made her coffee and sold her cookies.
Oh,
on
okay.
the daily, yeah.
Okay, I
She's
got you.
regular.
I got you. I
And
got you.
She'd always tell me,
Sunny's and
"Don't let me
cookies."
buy this cookie. Don't let me. I'm trying not to." And
Right.
I'm like, all right. So now I tell her, it feels weird telling someone no when you're in the serving someone.
Yeah, right,
And I was
right.
like, no, you said you can't have that cookie, so no.
Like,
And she's
nah.
let me cheat. And I'm like, no, no. You're gonna put me in this position. I'm gonna do this job well.
Yeah, no, I
my
feel
mom,
you.
my mom told me if I'm gonna do something, I better try to be the best at it.
Right, yeah, no,
So I'm gonna be the
absolutely.
best asshole.
Right.
And say no.
Right.
You know?
No, for sure. I feel you.
So, how's your day going? You said you guys were shooting earlier. You
Yeah,
guys are
so
doing some stuff?
my day's going well, man. It's going incredible. We shot earlier. We shot at where were we at? Rescue. What was it again? Anybody?
Rockin' Ranch.
Rockin' Ranch.
They basically like rescue animals at the
Okay.
spot, so we shot that. But it was really cool because like I was telling you when I first came in here, I'm a huge WWE fan.
Right.
And I can't what is his wrestling name again? I know his name is Aaron.
Damien Sandow.
Damian Sandow.
Yes.
Okay.
I met him today,
Okay.
and it was just a casual thing. I didn't even recognize him at 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was the host because he had shaved his beard. And so I met him, and then like he was just talking to us like casual stuff. We were talking about wrestling and rap, and then he was like, yeah, my agent works with like this entertainment company, and he introduced me to his agent, and his agent was like, yo, I want to take a meeting with you. So like I was just driving over here just thinking like, damn, this is insane that like all this stuff is kind of coming to, fruition in a sense. Like I've been making music now for 10 years.
10 years.
And
You answer my next question.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been making music now for that long, and but my two biggest passions are rap and wrestling.
Rap and
so
wrestling?
for me to just have met a wrestler at the event that I was doing, and then coming here and like them, him being so humble and just being like, I want to take a meeting with you, and then I did my research. It's called 33 and West is the company, and they like work with Immortal Technique, DMX, like Ritz. These are lyricists, and I predicate myself on lyrics and storytelling as an artist, so it would just make sense. So I'm putting the energy out there right now and the frequency out there that's going to say that when I do take this meeting this upcoming week, things are going to change for me.
Okay, yeah, so you mentioned artists. This is the artist table. Thank you for sitting down on the table.
I got you. Thank you for having me, man.
So
I
let's
appreciate
talk
you.
art. Let's talk art. So Valentina, back to her. When
Yeah.
she put me onto you,
Yeah.
she introduced you like as a DJ.
Okay.
So I thought you were gonna come in, throw down a mix, but we got Jimmy on the mix right now.
Shout out to Jimmy.
Shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy, want to say something real quick?
Yo, testing.
Testing.
1, 2.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Jimmy's over there testing it out. But
around
and
with
then
that for a second.
we had our phone call, and then you told me
Yeah.
you rap.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's change it up then.
Right,
Let's
right.
talk about your rap, and let's even like now I know you have multiple fields. Let's talk art.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been making music for 10 years. I'm guessing that includes producing, DJing, and then also rapping.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's like that whole thing. Like, what about music as a medium caught you?
What it was like the way that I actually got into music was at the end of my sophomore year. I moved from I grew up in Wisconsin in a very small town.
And this is high school or college?
High school.
Okay.
So, because I get to the college thing because I dropped out.
Okay.
For music.
Sorry, spoilers.
Right. So, basically, what happened was the end of my sophomore year, my mother went through a very crazy time where she was with a man and he ended up passing away.
Oh.
And my mother went through a very tough time, and she decided that she wanted to move us from Wisconsin to Florida, and I was not happy about that at all. I was young, you know what I mean? When you're younger, you don't really understand a lot of the things that adults and parents and people like that go through. So I was upset and just kind of in my feelings. The more and more that I realized what happened, it's almost like a blessing in disguise, though, because if I wouldn't have moved, so to make sense of this, my mom moved us to Florida.
Right.
My dad lives in California, though, because my parents separated when I was younger.
Okay.
And so I moved to Florida, but my mom and I were not really getting along. We were butting heads, and I hated where I was at. So I was like, yo, I don't want to live here no more, so I want to move with my dad. I ended up moving with my dad my junior year of high school, and that's when I started doing music.
Okay.
Because I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. And, you know, when I came around like a different type of culture, you know, from the clothes to the way that, you know, the graffiti, the slang, like California is a whole different beast than Wisconsin. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I grew up in a predominantly white area. My mom's white, my dad's black. I was the only black person at my school other
Okay.
than my siblings. So for me to then move to San Bernardino, where it's like very diverse and like, you know, people are just wearing different type of clothes and stuff that I've only seen on TV, that shit opened up a whole new realm for me, and it was just like such a good feeling. And that's how I got into music. That's really how I got into that. And then my mom then ended up moving back to Wisconsin, and then I moved back to Wisconsin to graduate my senior year. Then I turned around and moved my ass right back out here right after my senior
So
year.
just playing hopscotch.
Yeah,
you know,
man, so
back and
it's-
forth.
Yeah, man. But I mean, all forms of art, man, whether it doesn't matter what it is, like any art form, like paintings or like instrumentals or the DJing aspect, music, whatever it is, like you know, everything to me is art. Literally,
Right.
everything is art.
And that's-
Videography, like
I'm a-
it's all, you know.
I'm about that. That's why I have this show. It's the artist table.
I love
like,
it.
I'm inviting all types of artists to just come sit here. You know,
incredible.
We're sipping on High Life. I always get a shout out to Miller High Life, the champagne of beers.
Hey, I love it. I
cheap
love
way
it. I love
a
it.
cheap way to be fancy.
Right,
you know?
right. Of course.
I just try to get a new tagline, maybe get a sponsorship. I don't know.
Hey, it'll come, man.
It'll come.
It'll come.
No, yeah. So we opened up with Going and Going.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that track.
So it's funny that you asked about that, and we opened with that. That song is actually not even released yet. This is the second time. What day is it today?
It's
Sunday.
Yeah.
This is the second time in a week that I've performed that track unreleased. I was on this thing called the Wish Bus, which is really popular in the Philippines on Tuesday night, and I performed that record as well. Going and Going is a record that myself and my producer came up with. Shout to Contact the producer, Contact the God. That's what he goes by now. I always call him Contact the Producer because it's so easy, and that's what I remember. That's like what he started his name as that, and then he changed it to Contact the God. So I'm still trying to, like, you know,
trying to become a believer.
yeah, you know what I mean. It's like I like Contact the Producer better than Contact the God, but that's what he wants to be called. Then I'm gonna praise that for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Going and Going is just a record that was made after my album Say I'll Tell All.
Okay.
And my album Say I'll Tell All is a very heavy content based album. It's very dark. It's just a lot about like my sins and my demons. And after I got done with that album, I was like, yo, like I want to make something positive. And he made this beat, and just, you know, when I'm like, I'm feeling okay, I don't let nothing in life stand in front of my way, I just keep going and going. Like it's just basically me saying like, yo, like everything that I got going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna just keep going, and I'm gonna like, the opening line is like, look at my life, I swear I'm so blessed. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
and it was a fun record to record. It's gonna come out within the next 2 weeks. So I'm releasing I'm just throwing tidbits out. Right
Yeah,
now.
no, yeah, just
I'm
throwing
throwing
it out there.
everything out there. My
You're
bad.
throwing those. No, do your thing.
I'm releasing a song every single Monday this year.
Okay.
So that's 52 records, and all that, you know, stems off from the album. If you want to get into the guts of all that, we could talk about that and how all this shit came to fruition, because
Let's
that's
do it.
a story in itself.
Yeah, let's do it. Whatever you want to share.
So the album Say I'll Tell All, which just came out on Monday, March 18th, this week, is an 11-track album that's broken down into 4 acts. Those acts are titled from books that I've read, that the songs reflect the lessons that I learned from those books, or also they're a reminder for me to go back and reread those books to remind myself of those lessons.
Right.
And the reason
cool
why I call
concept.
it, thank you. The reason why I call it Say I'll Tell All is because I talk about everything from me cheating on my ex, to my ex cheating on me, to me having 2 abortions at, like over the course of the last 10 years. So I should have 2 children right now. I talk about my younger brother being gay and coming out, and me talking to him about that, and just being like, very like just being there for him and talking to him about that. I talk about my sister being in an abusive relationship with somebody and how like that didn't set well with me. I just talk about how I haven't treated women the best. I talk about, how I could have done better. I talk about drunken nights the day after me and my ex broke up, and what I did, like kissing another girl in a club. Like, it's me literally saying everything that I need to say and releasing all my sins. Say all, tell all.
Get it off your chest.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, and it was, man, I was in such a fucked up time period before that album came out, because like I was in a relationship with somebody I knew I didn't want to be in, and she didn't want to be with me, and we were just doing like foul shit to each other. And then it all kind of just blew up in my face, and I was going through a time period where like I didn't even really have a place to live. Like, I had like a lot of my clothes and shit like in the backseat of my car, like driving around. We shot a music video. Remember when we shot the Every Night music video?
Yeah.
I was changing. We're in a parking lot, and I opened my back. I'll never forget. It was either you or somebody else. I opened my trunk, and everybody's like, "Damn, why you got all that shit in there?" Yeah. I had all my clothes in there, like all my clothes. This was last year, Right. But the beauty of it all, man, is if none of that would have happened, we wouldn't be in here right now. I wouldn't talk to you. Like, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't feel so free and so like it's. I'm not saying that those situations don't weigh on me anymore, or they don't affect me, because they do. But it feels so good to free myself of all the shit that I like. The way that I would view myself was like this villain, like a bad guy that does wrong to people and this and that. And it's like, yo. You, everybody in this room, we're all fucking human. Like, you fuck up just like he fucks up, just like he does. So it's like, I mean, I'm not saying everybody cheats or lies or has abortions or should have children or whatever, but like, it feels good for me to just be able to talk about it and be like, I'm real.
And I like how, and I feel that because I appreciate your honesty, because it feels like you're not even forcing the truth. Like, it seems like you've come to terms with it, and you've embraced it. Like, the way you just like put it out there, I was like, most people would hesitate, or maybe be like, "Oh, I'm about to get deep," like no front, no nothing like that. Like, you're honest, and this is what I want at this table.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you already for matching that energy.
Hey, you're welcome.
And thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Also not just like in this studio, but also on your tracks. Like that's immortalized now, and that's honest like experience that's immortalized now. So no one can question whether you're honest or whether you're real,
right?
Because you just put it all on the table, and I can see that there's so much off your shoulders.
I feel good, bro.
Yeah,
like moving, you know what I mean? Like,
most people like look like Atlas. I'm talking about the world on their shoulders. Sometimes I feel like Atlas, and I wake up, I'm like, oh God, I already feel the weight.
Nah, dog, because like it's like, yo, what could you say to me? I'm Eminem. I'm Eminem in the last battle in 8 Mile. I said everything about myself. You can't say a damn thing about me now. Once you understand like yourself, and you're like, yo, I'm human. I fuck up. You embrace it. I feel alive. I feel so good, like just being myself and being in my skin. And like, I know that that body of work, there are other people that are out there that have gone through exactly what I just said, that will go back and they'll use that album as a tool and as a reference to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to forgive myself. I don't care what everybody says. I don't care what my ex-girlfriend says. I don't care if my mom is mad at me for this or that. I'm a human being. I'm a man. I'm a woman who's like done things, and like, I want to forgive myself so that I can freely move on and live free. Like, ultimately, like the way that you want to live your life is in peace up here.
Right. And the way I always picture like holding on to your demons is like you're polarizing yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, people fuck with you, right? Like, let's say you have someone who fucks with you. But like, if they don't know, like, I'm not saying you have to like confess your demons to everyone all the time. Right. But like, if you're gonna be real and they can't fuck with that, then they really don't fuck with you.
Right.
And then why fuck with someone that doesn't fuck with you?
Right.
You know. And so it's like these kind of experiences, when you let stuff off your chest, it gives both parties, like, even if it's not a direct person to person, like, you put it out there. Right. So now you gave the world a chance to forgive you too. Right. And also not judge you, and also recognize you, like, you're teaching them the lesson, like, this is who I am. Right. Not what you like, not what I look like. Right. Now I'm not being what I'm supposed to be. I'm not pretending I have it all unlocked. Right. Right. And now they could empathize and then actually appreciate you. Right. Honestly, unpolarized, undivided, unfiltered. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, the real me, and that's the connection that I want to have with my fans too. Like, even when I go home and I speak to people or whatever, and they talk to me about how they've done this or they've done that. Like, I'm not one to judge. Who am I to judge? The crazy thing, though, is, like, I have this, like, undeniable and unstoppable energy now where I've said everything, and I consistently now on all these records that I'm releasing, like, I have probably about 20 records lined up, like, that are still coming out, like one that's playing right now. And, like, I'm saying shit on these records that is so raw that, like, when I play it, even for my boys or so-and-so, it's almost uncomfortable to hear it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's uncomfortable to where I'm like, yo, like, I just say whatever the fuck I want to say, and I just don't care. Like, I look at myself like, people like Eminem. I know we mentioned Drake before. I am a Drake fan. The reason why I like him is because he's very straightforward and real. But, like, the Jay-Z's, the Eminems, the Drakes, the Kendricks, the Coles, these are people that have influenced me to be their raw, honest self.
Right.
And I feel like there's a lot of fake shit in this industry. And, like, it's one thing for you to be able to make, like, a club turn-up record or whatever, but, like, be able to have that in the bag, too. But, like, yo, I want to know, like, what's going on. Like,
right.
Talk that shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's what I predicate my music career on.
So you're mentioning a lot of these artists that keep it real,
right?
But there's a lot of artists that start off real, and I would say maybe sell out or become they get morphed by, like, the industry or maybe some influence, and they stop being real,
right?
And it's like I don't know if you mess with Dark Knight, the movie, the Christian Bale Batman movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a line in it that says, like, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself and become the villain.
And Jay-Z, he said that in a record.
Did he?
Jay-Z said that in a record too.
And so, like,
long enough
taking
to become the villain.
Yeah, and then to take that idea, it's like, do you feel like your honest energy or, like, your persona? Do you think that's challenged a lot? Like, do you think, like, or do you think you have it, like, where you can walk outside and not really feel the pressure to maybe, like, conform to something? Like,
not anymore. I don't feel like I'm pressured, man. Like, I really don't. Like, I feel like people in the industry would try to change me, or people might have, like, see, this is the thing. People will have this perception of you based on however they met you, or for me, a specific album that they identified me as.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, like, some people that are watching right now on my Facebook might identify with me from an album that I put out 5 years ago called My Black Side, and I have a song on it called Young Boy where I talk about people from back home and this and this and this, and they might look at me as that Stevie Dub.
Right.
And because I created a moment in time for you that resonates with you, that does not mean that I'm that same person, because we all forever evolve. So, like,
right.
If you look at me and you try to categorize me or try to box me in, I'm not going to allow you to do that. And if people are like, "Oh, you've changed this and that," well, what the fuck do you expect me to do? Stay the same all my life? Like, I'm not going to stay the same.
Yeah, and there's these two schools of thought in art, like, that art should be able to stand on its own,
Mm-hmm.
or art requires some context to understand.
Right.
And you kind of touched upon that, where it's like the context that someone met you in. Yeah, they, like, maybe that's what caught them, right?
Right,
like,
right.
Caught their attention or whatever. But that doesn't mean that's the same context every time, or even the right context.
Right.
And
right.
it's like I believe that it should be both. Like, I feel like art should be able to stand on its own, but also mean something completely what it's supposed to mean.
I agree.
With the context.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think it's a lot of things that, like, an audience, like, we as consumers, just, like, financially, economically, like, we're trained to just quick consume. Like, this sounds lit. All right, cool. I'm gonna put that on a playlist. Rather than to sit there and be like, all right, what is this, like, track talking about?
Right.
What is this, like I don't like I've listened to a lot of stuff you sent me.
Yeah.
But, like, I haven't listened to your albums yet. But, like,
right.
for me, it's like when a lot of rap is, like, very glorifies, like, drugs. And I'm not saying, like, oh, we shouldn't be doing that. But what I'm saying is, like, a lot of people will absorb these songs without realizing what they're absorbing.
Right.
And then next, subconsciously, like, they're talking that way. And then it's the law of attraction.
Dude.
The things that you're about come to you.
Right. You know, it's crazy, though, that you're saying that. I like how you said, like, they'll like, unconsciously or whatever do these things. I'm reading the book The Power of Now right now.
Right.
Have you read that book?
I picked it up. I haven't opened it yet.
Read that book,
dude.
dude. Read the book. I'm telling you. And it's exactly like what you just said. Like, people will... It doesn't, like, okay, so I could say like this. I could identify myself and say, oh, I was with a couple girls when I was, a couple years ago, I've been in relationships where like girls either cheated on me or like that. And so I can identify myself as that.
Right.
If I choose to do that. But that's the thing about your mind. Either you are in control of your mind or your mind is in control of you.
Right. And they're separate.
Right.
And it's weird.
And we're all out here zombies. Like everybody's out here like a walking zombie. There could be somebody who, got denied, years ago. Like let's say that Jay signed up 5 years ago to be a videographer for so-and-so. And that person was like, yo, your work is shit. He could hold on to that forever and tell himself that he's never good enough to do this because one person's opinion
said it at the right moment,
right,
where it stabbed the most.
And then he identified himself with that. And until he chooses to unidentify as that and re-identify as something else, or just watch the thinker, as they say it in the book, then he's always going to hold on to that. So for me, I had to sit in the studio and rewrite everything or write everything out and look at myself and say, yo, I want to be, first and foremost, I want to be a better person to women or whoever I'm with, because I don't want to get this twisted as if I'm like this big cheating motherfucker. I'm not that. I promise.
No,
I'm a good guy at heart. I swear.
I sense the past tense in these.
Okay, good. Good. I mean, there's people that are watching right now.
They're like,
too.
oh my God, Steve, you.
I mean, they know. If they listen to my music, then they know. But like, I'm just like, for me, I'm really just tapping into like my subconscious and my conscious mind and really paying attention to the things that I do consciously.
You're critically thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people, a lot of artists, a lot of just people, I said it, lack.
Yeah.
And also it's almost like our like I said, everything needs to be quick and ready. Hot and ready, like Little Caesars,
Right.
And so it's like critical thinkers are almost like looked down upon too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you get like a lot of shit for thinking critically. We're like, you're reading the phrase, you're reading too deep.
Yeah, you're too deep. I get that.
Yeah, and it's like no, like
you're too shallow. Like you need to think on a higher level. Like this whole world, and now like with social media and how I don't want to just blame it on social media because it's a great tool. Keyword tool.
Yeah, but things can be abused, and so
absolutely.
And so it's a very, I would say it's a drug. Social media is very much
dude.
a drug.
We're all addicted to it in this room. Look at everything in this room right now.
No.
Come on now.
I'm like
camera.
I'm looking at my screen even though I know I can't touch it right now.
Right.
I feel like I'm being rude. So
you're good. You're good. But no, man. I mean, I feel you on that, man. And so for me, I just want to be on like that level where I'm just like on a higher level of thinking, a higher level of thought. I'm in touch with my inner self. I'm in touch with my emotions. If something or someone doesn't set right with me, I need to figure out why.
Right.
I need to know what's going on, man, or my whole system's not going to operate the right way, and I can't give these great records out to people that deserve to hear them, and I can't operate on a high level. And the people around me, like all you guys in this room, including you three that I just met, they deserve that from me.
Right.
I deserve to walk in here, that you invited me to this show. I deserve to get the best version of you today because this is my time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And my thing is, I expect the same from we talked about this like before. When I briefed you and I gave you the rundown was like, this is real talk. I was a segment on another show before this on Beyond the Bike, and my segment is called the Real Talk, and I carry that over because my thing is I hate bullshit.
Yeah,
I hate it. And so my thing is like, if I'm gonna sit there and give you my time, like when if I'm gonna sit there and interview you and put you on, and want to get inside your head, like you got to be willing to have the doors open.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying like I need to know everything, but what I'm saying is like if I ask you something and you aren't going to tell me you don't want to talk about that,
right?
And you're going to talk about it, it better not be bullshit,
right?
You
right.
better not be fluffing me,
right?
Because that's a misdirection. That's a lie. Like I'm, like you're sitting at my table, I'm sitting at the table. We're sitting at the table, Right. That's what it is, and so I appreciate like all of it. So my one question is,
Absolutely.
that album is the one where you let it all out.
Yeah, say I'll tell all.
And then I think I heard you say you recorded another album before that.
Well, I mean, I have multiple projects out.
Okay, so what was your process like? What was like the things influencing you and the things you were kind of putting out before you let it all off your chest?
Man.
What was that like? What was the shift like before you let it all off your shoulders? What was that like?
So like, how did I kind of get into making the album? Is that what you're saying?
Or no, just that? like what was your energy before you got it all off your chest?
Man, honestly, man, like I was going through like a very tough time. Like to be honest with you, before I got it off my chest, like I said, like I was in a relationship that I knew I shouldn't be in, and and that's what I'm talking about. I knew it, but I didn't want to believe it.
So was were your records, were they as honest and reflective
No.
of that? That's
Nope.
what I'm
Nope.
trying to
Nope.
ask. Yeah.
Not at all. Not even close. Like
Okay.
I wasn't even producing as much content. The reason why I'm coming out with so much music is because I spent so much time after that happened making music and letting everything out. So I was like, yo, I have all of this magic now. Let's put it out. But before that, like literally over the last, I haven't released a solo album since 2015.
Okay.
But I did release an EP with my homegirl, Who Is Heartbreak. That's her stage name. Last year. So it was like a 7-track EP. It was poppy. And like I could hear it when I listened back to those records that I really wanted to say certain things, but I was afraid. Not gonna lie, I was afraid of what my girl at the time would think. I was afraid if I got too real, like what my mom would think, what my friends would say, the uncomfortable conversations I would have to, have to explain the line that I said about me, like saying I did this or I did that or this person did this. And now, like afterwards, like once everything was over, I was like, yo, like just be yourself. Talk about it, bro. Embrace it all. Let it happen. And I did that. And like I was lucky enough to have a group of friends who are also musicians, producers, and writers and whatnot that were creating music at the studio throughout this whole time while I was, in a relationship or whatever. And they were being honest in their music. And I would hear that and I would hear it. And I was like, man, I need to get to that level. I need to get to that level of them, of, speaking my real, raw, true thoughts. Because if I never do, it's always going to stay harbored in.
Yeah.
And you know what happens when that happens. Like, eventually it's going to come out and you're just
Bottle
going to
of it.
boom.
Boom.
Yeah, so
and
like,
it's never in the right situation.
right.
It's
Never.
always-
Never.
people don't- It's always when you do it, there's the most casualties,
Right.
the most collateral damage.
Right. For sure.
Bridges get burned and stuff, and you don't want that. And so, no, yeah. So you have this song you said you want to perform.
Yeah. It's called Hit 'em High, Hit 'em Low.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low.
That's right. If you want to get into that, whenever.
Yeah,
you're ready.
like, do you want to talk about it before you hit it, or do you want to hit it
I
high and
mean-
then we can get on the low?
What y'all think? Y'all want me to do it first and then talk, or do you want me to talk and then do it?
Do it first.
Do it first. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it first. So
Let's do it
we got
first.
Stevie Dove, Hit 'em high, hit 'em low. Is this
Yeah.
released?
Yeah, this is out. This is on sale. Tell off.
All right, so he's gonna hit this for us. We're gonna get a little live performance.
Yeah,
Be
let's
jealous.
keep turning up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn you up. I'm gonna turn myself down.
Cool. Check. Hit him. I see you over there. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, hit 'em man, where they go. Always talking bad about you, think it's time to let 'em know. You the man, you the one, been like that since day one. Niggas always wanna flex, see 'em out, they probably run. I hit 'em high, hit 'em low, hit 'em man, where they go. Always talking bad about you, think it's time to let 'em know. You the man, you the one, been like that since day one. Dudes always wanna flex, look, listen. Hit him with the left and the right hook. I got all the verses and the right hooks. I got everything these other rappers need now. And I'm clearly in my own motherfucking league now. And it's apparent. I see how they be staring, especially when they hear my music and look surprised at what they hearing. Been like that since I was in a group, way back with Jay Kasai. But it wasn't worth my time, so I had to say goodbye and do me. Best decision I ever made. That's just one of those situations that will forever fade. Never pray, but I should. God got me, man, I'm good. Street niggas show me love and I ain't even from the hood. Understood, if I'ma say it with my chest. Don't be trying to play with checkers if we playing games of chess. You a mess, you a fraud, you a fake, you a pawn. When I see you, I just yawn. When I hit 'em, man, I just hit 'em hard. I hit 'em high, hit 'em low, hit 'em, man, where they go. Always talking bad about you, think it's time to let 'em know that you the man, you the one. Been like that since day one. Niggas always wanna flex, see 'em out, they probably run. I hit 'em high, hit 'em low, hit 'em, man, where they go. Always talking bad about you, think it's time to let 'em know that you the man, you the one. Been like that since day one. Niggas always wanna flex, see 'em out, they probably run. Look, I'ma let you play me while I play you. And if the shoe fits, that means that I played you. Yeah. I know sometimes this shit gets uncomfortable and I be acting like I'm indestructible. Man, I got a big head on both ends. Don't speak no nonsense when I'm talking. Nah, look, I be speaking facts.
No jewelry around my neck and no tats, man, I'm simply being me. No fakes, no gimmicks, pushing on the gas, no brakes, no limits. I never start nothing that I know I can't finish, and I ain't one of these Hollywood niggas only worried about his image. Now, woof, I'm really about that action. I ain't acting, I'm just attacking. You want it, then let's get it cracking. Consider this a warning shot. You heating up and we barely warm in the pot. I hit them high, hit them low, hit them everywhere they go. Always talking bad about you. Think it's time to let them know that you the man, you the one. Been like that since day one. Niggas always wanna flex. See them out, they probably run. I hit them high, hit them low, hit them everywhere they go. Always talking bad about you. Think it's time to let them know you the man, you the one. Been like that since day one. Niggas always wanna flex. See them out, they probably run. Yeah, buddy. That's it.
That was what's up.
Oh man, I'm feeling good. Sheesh.
Yeah, get that water. Get hydrated.
you.
That was good. Yeah,
I got you.
That was good. Hit 'em high, hit 'em low, guys. By Stevie Dub.
Thank you.
Download it, stream it, do your thing, but fuck with them.
Yo, so that song right there is off of Say All Tell All.
Yeah.
Are we still rolling?
Yeah, we're still rolling.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, just casually performed it, just about to talk now,
yeah.
So that record was very fun to make. That record was like my way of just kind of being like, you know what, man, I'm tired of all these people that I know are just kind of like talking down on me and like saying this shit. I hear the sneak disses, I hear whatever, I hear everything, and I'm gonna just let it be known, like, I am not the one to fuck with when it comes to doing this, and I'm gonna say it exactly how I want to say it, and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was that's under the act called Ego is the Enemy.
Yeah.
Because that's what the book is called. You know, like I said, my album is 4 acts that are titled from books, and that is underneath that one because it's, it's like hit 'em high, hit 'em low. Always talking bad about you. Think it's time to let them know you the man, you the one. Been like that since day one. You know what I mean? And then like when I have lines in there where I'm like, I see how they be staring, especially when they hear my music and look surprised at what they hearing. Because like I don't look like a Kodak Black. I don't look like a 21 Savage.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't look like your typical rapper in a sense. Like, I look like I should be like a model or whatever. And then when you hear me spitting, I literally, like, exactly like what I just said. You look surprised at what they hearing. Like, it's been like that since way back. And like, so it was just my way of being like, yo, like, I'm good. I know I'm fucking good. And I'm gonna just say it. Like, I'm gonna say what needs to be said. And like, yeah, it's egotistical. It's a little cocky, but like, this is rap.
Yeah, a good friend of mine told me that you can't do hip hop without a little bit of ego. Like,
facts.
You can't be insecure on the mic. Like, you can very much sound insecure, but like, you can't be insecure. You know.
Right.
And so it's cool. Like, especially with that song, it's very meta. It kind of gets into that. It's like, this is me. I'm not insecure about this. I'll tell you, I wish a nigga would.
Exactly. That's exactly like what it is. Like, that's just kind of like what it is. It's like, that's why I say at the very end, I'm like, yo, consider this a warning shot. We heating up. You barely warm in the pot. Like, I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready for whatever.
Yeah. And so you got that one. You said Ego is the Enemy is the book.
Yeah, Ego is the Enemy.
What are the other 3 books?
The other 3 books, so it's Ego is the Enemy, it's Emotional Intelligence, and then it is The Compound Effect, and then it's Awaken the Giant Within.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and like if you want me to I can kind of go into detail about what those mean.
Please do.
Ego is the Enemy is a book that's, about your ego and how your ego can control you.
Right.
And how a lot of us make decisions based off of our ego. And the first 4 records on my album are very egotistical, but they're very direct at the same time. Like, I'm not just saying like aimless shit, like, oh, I'm the shit, I'm this, I'm that. Hit 'em high, hit 'em low is probably the one song on the album where I am probably the most egotistical. Other than that, so yeah, Ego is the Enemy is on that realm, and then The Compound Effect, which is the next one, is basically about how Emotional Intelligence, which is the next one, which is a book just about like you being able to recognize your emotions and why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, how it's predicated off of your thoughts and how your thoughts can become things. And if I think to myself, I could potentially be the greatest rapper in the world, and I believe, and I say it enough, I'm going to start to believe it. Just like if I'm like, yo, I fucking suck and I'm never going to make it, then you're never going to make it.
Right.
So like the songs from under the emotional intelligence one just kind of reflect like I have a song called Coulda Done Better and a song called Hang On, and those songs, you know, it's self-explanatory. Right. Coulda done better. And I talk about, you know, it's basically me coming to my senses and saying, damn, like I've really fucked up and I've done a lot of fucked up shit and I could have done better, and I describe the situations I could have done better in. And then The Compound Effect is a book about basically how your decisions and choices compounded over time, how they can either work for you or work against you.
Okay, yeah.
And so the two songs under that is Broke Up, you know.
Yeah.
I've had relationship situations that have literally replicated themselves in different situations. And then a song called Go Through It, which basically is saying when you're going through these situations compounded over time, breakups or relationships that aren't serving you well, you're going to end up going through it. And I talk about that whole thing in there. And then the last one is like Awaken the Giant Within, which is a book by Tony Robbins. And it's just, you're alive, you're awake, you get it. Like something clicks. And I have 3 records under that called Can You Save Me? And I talk about some personal stuff in that, like with my sister and my brother and me going to church last year after I was going through everything I went through for the first time in like years. And then Ain't So Bad is a song that's basically saying like, after everything is said and done, it ain't so bad. Like, it ain't so bad, it ain't so bad. And then like the last song, the last song is kind of like, it's called Long Summer. And it's me being awake. It's me being my conscious and unconscious self at the same time. Because it's me basically saying like I want to go out and I want to be single and I want to wild out and do all that stuff, and I'm aware of it.
Do you have shows lined up?
I have a couple lined up. I'm actively booking more shows now. Is like show season now that the album's done and whatnot. But like, yeah, for sure, I'm definitely performing. The biggest one that I could say that I have coming up, which isn't until July, but I'm performing at No Hesi Fest at the Globe Theater in LA. Okay. Which is gonna be big. And then like we're gonna be continuing to book more shows. So, you know, my goal is to actively by the end of this year get the schools that I am the go-to DJ for to allow me to at least perform a record or two at a school.
Do you do events where people are old enough to drink? I know you say you do private parties and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm curious because this is, you know, it popped in my head. Like, how different is it with like a student body versus like a bunch of drunk heads? Or
it all depends, man. Like even the gig that I did last night was in like Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And it was for like a really, really rich couple.
Okay.
And but there was like a lot of like rich people there, but they were just like socializing and stuff. Like I was playing good records.
Right.
I played enough to where people were dancing every once in a while, but like it just all depends on the crowd, man. If you get a good group of people, I've had private parties that were lit.
Right.
Like lit. But so I've had schools that were like beyond lit, but I've had schools that were boring too, like, you know what I mean, where it's just kind of like they're very stiff, they're shy. I don't know if it's because they don't know how to dance, like, but like a lot of these schools out here in LA, like shout out to Santa Monica High School, Hawthorne, Canyon High School up by Santa Clarita, man. That's like one of the most live schools. I go there and they are just hype the whole time. And like I'm like, I kind of like, I really test everything. I play records that I'm like, I don't know if I should play that one, but I'm gonna fucking do it anyways.
You know, I'm the same way,
know what I mean?
like with my jokes.
Yeah.
Like in the wrong situations. I'm not a comedian or anything, but it's like I'll say the wrong thing on purpose.
Just to see what happens.
Just to see what happens.
Yep,
yeah, curiosity. Yeah.
I
don't know.
100%.
So one thing that like I had a guest on last week. Her name is Misha, and we had I don't know if you heard of the Black OC.
The Black OC?
Yeah,
I
it's this movement, CEOs, Fair and Kid. So he was in there and he was doing some video stuff. But you said your mom's white, your dad's black. So you're African American like myself.
African American.
Yeah, so my parents are the other. My mom's black and my dad's
Really?
Dad's
that was gonna be my question, bro. I've literally only met. You're only the third person now that I've met ever in my life that has the opposite.
Right. No, and that's what I'm saying.
It's
is
crazy.
But you know, you were in Wisconsin, so I'm
Yeah.
sure you got some some like racial experience.
Oh man, I dealt with a lot
when
of
you came to
racism.
California, you said you were in Santa Barbara?
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino, sorry. San Bernardino.
No, you're good.
How was that shift? Like, and then even like, especially in like Southern California, you know, growing up, you know,
It was different,
Black,
man.
yeah.
It was different. When I first moved, man, it was an adjustment, you know what I mean? Like, it was an adjustment in terms of like, I think that I was just so used to being around like one race. And I don't mean to like categorize like all white folks as this or that, but like, you know, like I said, it was just a different culture. Like the way black people and Mexican people where I was at carried themselves was just different. You know what I mean? And it was like weird for me to adjust to. And like people would always come up to me. Everybody was always asking me, what are you? What are you? What are you?
Right.
In terms of like your race, not like where you from.
No,
type
yeah,
thing.
no, yeah.
But like, what are you? What are you? And I had never really got that because everybody knew like, yo, that's, you know, it's Stevie Dub. Like he's like the only black person around here. So
Right.
it was different for me, man, but it was good. It felt really good to like just be like embraced in a sense by like my people and just have like a wide variety of like friends, whether they're Asian, black, Mexican, you know, purple, blue, whatever. Like to me, it's, you know, race is not a factor.
Right.
Race means nothing.
And the reason I ask is because you mentioned that you say you don't look like a typical rapper.
Yeah.
And I was wondering where you got that idea from. Did you experience that when you first came out here, where people? Because for me, growing up, the thing I got a lot was like, you don't act black.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
got that too right there.
And so it's like, what do I need to do? Like, do I have to sag my pants, grab my crotch, you
Right,
know,
right.
like pronounce my THs as Fs? Like, what is it?
yeah, like what does that even mean?
What is that? What do
know?
you mean? Like, as soon as you ask them, like, what do you mean? But it's like that idea still, like you said, like when someone gets hit with that, they might carry it with them for
Right,
a while,
right,
you know,
right.
for their whole life. Like, I'm not letting it carry me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not letting it get to me my whole life. Like, I let go of it, but I
Right.
did carry it for a bit.
Yeah, no, me too, man.
Yeah.
Like I carry it, you know, I can sense times when I will carry it. Like if I'll get around like a group of like wealthy white folks, like sometimes like I feel uncomfortable. And I think that it might just be because like I came from a low class
Right.
like
No,
area, and I, you know, like so like people would look at me and like look down, like I just didn't feel like I was good enough like where I came from. But and then I'm just like, nah, like you,
yeah,
nah,
it
it's
might
not.
just be insecurity or just
Yeah, no,
like
for sure,
like
it's
scars
insecurity.
from experience. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like if I'm in a place that, for lack of better words, is gentrified, I'll
Yeah.
feel it. Like
Yeah.
I walk in, all the heads look at you, and you're just like, damn, like all those heads just turn.
Right. Well, dude, when I go back home to Wisconsin, still to this day, I mean, I feel it. When
Yeah.
I walk around, I go to the grocery store, people turn their heads, they look at me. They look at me like I'm an alien or something, you know? Like,
Right.
like I mean, last time I remember I went home, I went to the bowling alley. There was a guy that was sitting at the bar of the bowling alley wearing a Confederate flag hat, and he was just staring at me, staring a hole through me.
Oh.
So I went up there, I got my bowling shoes or whatever. I looked at him and I just waved, you know, and he turned his head and looked away. Like, but you know, racism is something that's taught. You're
Right.
not born racist.
Right.
You don't just wake up one day and you're like, oh, I hate this group of people or that group of people or the people that have brown skin. It's
Right.
just it's a taught. It's something that's taught.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
with that mentality, because it's like I'm not doing this to address racism.
No,
like
you're good. You're good.
I would say so. You say you don't have the typical image of like a rapper, right?
Right.
And then we have obviously the world and our area has these preconceptions. We have our own counter preconceptions, you know?
Right.
And you can say vice versa. Theirs is a counter to ours. Whatever. You can argue that. But what I'm saying is like, do you feel like, in what you're doing, do you feel like you almost like owe it more to like prove that you like, even though you don't look like a rapper, you almost owe it to like change the preconceptions? Like, I'm Stevie Dub. I'm going to be the #1 rapper. I'm going to be the #1 producer, DJ, and you guys can't say shit. Like, you guys can't tell me like, oh, you don't look like a rapper, because now you've redefined
Right.
the look.
Yeah,
like,
no,
do you
for sure.
do you feel like that's like a they're like pushing you? Do you feel like it's like on your mind, like hey, like I'm constantly slept on, so I'm going to perform in my pajamas. You know, like you know.
I mean, I feel like I think that sometimes I do get like that, but it's not like my driving force. I wouldn't say
Right.
it's like my driving force.
Of course,
But I
yeah.
definitely do want to, help change the landscape of exactly the conversation that we have in terms of like what a rapper looks like, or what are the credentials that make up a hip hop artist,
or even like what it means to act black.
right, what it means to act black,
And,
like
for me, it's like I produce, I make a lot of content. I dabble in a bunch of different mediums, but my thing is, a lot of people look at me and they assume I make music because like I'm like tall, slender in the way I dress, but they like assume it's hip hop. And when I first started making music, it was grunge, believe it or not.
Okay.
And my thing was like, but I like hip hop now, so like it's like I can't argue that. So now it's like, yeah, I do, but like they're like, well, you don't really act like a rapper, and it's like, you'll see,
right?
You'll see. Like 10 years from now, there's gonna be like the way I feel like I owe it is like I want people to look at like someone who acts like a thug, and I'm not saying they have to be a thug, but someone who chooses to act like a thug, and so someone look at them and say, you don't act like a rapper, especially when it comes to the art and like because this art has like a preconception. Like hip hop has a strong preconception to it. And so to choose to go into hip hop, you almost, like I said, you have to have a sense of ego. You almost have to be so real with yourself. And all those things are effective, like being half black, like, you know, like most of the time you're too black for white people, you're too white for black people.
Yeah.
And so it's like to reconcile that and to embrace those roots either way is like dipping your brush into paint on a palette, I feel like. And then what you do with that is your brush stroke.
Right.
And so I usually have people close, like our time's almost up.
No worries.
I ask, what is art to Stevie Dub? Like when you think art, when you like when you think music, let's take it like even broader. Like music's your art. So when you think art, what is art to you, and why music?
Art to me is just like
profound. It could be, you know.
Yeah, no worries. So. I think that for me, art is just like freedom of speech, freedom of whatever. Like you just fully embracing yourself and embodying like whatever it is, the mold that you choose to make yourself up and how you want to represent yourself. And the reason why music for me is that art form is because I feel like God gifted me with like He gifted me with the capabilities to communicate effectively.
Right.
I think that I'm a very great speaker. I can talk very well. And I take that, I take that speech that I'm able to project in conversation and I take that into my music, and just so happens to be a banging ass beat behind it.
Right.
And it works out. So, I would say that's what art specifically is to me.
Right.
More than anything, it's just like freedom. Mm-hmm. Freedom.
Yeah. So I hear Every Day in the back.
Yeah.
We're gonna close with that.
Absolutely.
Every Day by Stevie Dub. Do you want to tell us a little, like, give us a little insider before we close out with Every Day?
Absolutely. Every day is just literally about me going out there and grinding and getting my shit every day that I can. And I mean, it's it's just bars. Like it's it's a very lyrical, heavy content base. Once again, not putting me in a box, just me going all out.
And this is unreleased, right?
Unreleased.
So
once again, all these songs that are playing, whether they're out when this comes out or not, they'll be out by June.
All right.
Over the next couple of... So you're getting this. This is an exclusive Hits 101 right here.
Yeah,
Stevie Dub exclusive on the Hits 101
That's
radio.
What I do. I get us the behind the scenes. Exclusive.
I love it.
Jimmy on the mic.
I hear you over
Hey,
here, bro.
all right, let's do this. So
yeah.
Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Raphaels.
Thank you.
Thank you, Consume Chris, for being here at the Artist Table. This is Artist Table airing out of Hits 101, and it's a Rendezvous Culture production. Tune in next week.